Hey family, we have more clarifying questions that lead to chalk outlines. Today's questions for video log 10 is, do we have an approach to selecting a candidate to vote for at local, state, federal, and presidential elections? Yes, I believe we do. And I think we have a more pragmatic approach. Evaluate policies and politicians based on 4 areas affecting American life. Let's start with criminal justice ideology, as this is the source of the main set of discussions in current American life. There are many measures which are championed by political parties and candidates. These issues will shape much of American society for decades to come. The interpretation of criminal justice policy will be applied not only in day-to-day interaction with law enforcement, but how laws and policies are adjudicated in court. Many judges are selected and elected based on their interpretation of the law. Consider where you stand on issues such as use of force, Fourth Amendment rights, what is a police issue, and what is a civil rights issue. Then consider where the local, state, and federal candidates stand on these issues. Don't forget, your local and state votes are likely to have a far larger impact on your life than federal elections. While many young people do not worry themselves with medical care issues due to the relative health which comes from youth, one major calamity or the loss of a job can threaten medical stability. The rapid spread of COVID has shown how quickly and easily sickness can overwhelm our healthcare establishment. It is important and worth noting what types of legislation are being discussed which may impact the American healthcare and healthcare access systems. Don't look at healthcare in terms of your current health only, but reflect on how it may be relevant to you in the not too distant future. Business unemployment. This is one of the most interesting areas to be informed on, because what politicians and pundits say legislation or initiatives are intended to do can often fall or fail to come into fruition. The beauty is that we can often research information on those hidden details and find comparable policies and see how the plan actually works in practice. Is the policy good for you? Is it good for your community or your state? Are there hidden considerations? Does the politician actually have a history of producing the intended result? Is this piece of legislation just a cash grab? Is the economic policy sustainable? Here's a great example of policy to research. I recommend researching the application of trickle-down economics in Kansas under Governor Sam Brownback. What you will find is the policy destroyed the state and did not lead to increased business and decreased unemployment. It failed miserably. Last thing, rhetoric. You can ask yourself, do I actually believe this person when they speak? First, do I want to believe this person despite my reservations and their potentially faulty logic? The rhetoric of our potential politicians, existing politicians, and the rhetoric surrounding pieces of legislation and rhetoric around initiatives in the community. Listening to what someone says can be just as important as listening to what they don't say. Rhetoric can often be a driver for not only public policy and legislation, but also the climate and environment in the country, state, city, and community. While we want to be able to judge people strictly based on their actions, we have to acknowledge that in our increasingly interconnected and smaller world, words affect others' actions and often outcomes. We have seen how both politicians and business people choose to think out loud, choose to theorize out loud, and how it affects public policy and economics. With that said, these are just a few ideas to think about as we head deeper into our voting season. I love you all. Peace and blessings. 06.